I don't know why it's so small. Oh, is that bigger? Face goes here. So bear with me. Bear with me. What is going on? Live chat. One new message. Hey, Manesh. How's it going? Namaste, everybody. So, some of you guys will know me from the Periscope app for the past 2 years. I've been on Periscope. I originally started my Periscope account from my Twitter account, and I'm known as the Drunken Monk. What's up, Sugar? What good? My first Haps. Yeah, I figured I'd give it a try, man. I figured I'd give it a try. And I think right now I should be broadcasting on Instagram too, right? I think what got me to go ahead and pull the trigger on this Happs app was that I saw that I could broadcast on I could broadcast on Instagram, YouTube. What's up, Smith, Mr. Smith? Instagram, YouTube, Periscope for a little while, and Twitter all at the same time, right? I think that's correct, right? I still be on there, bro, but it's about time to wind it down. Matter of fact, so Vice, did you get the link? Did you get the link on Periscope when I broadcast it? Did y'all get the link? Oh, some of y'all uh know I was joking about this a few weeks ago, but I actually did get that car, so some of y'all know what I'm talking about. It should be delivered, I guess, in the next couple of weeks. I don't know, whatever. My wife's more excited than I am. I guess I'm getting old because it's like if I'd have bought that car when I was like 20, I'd be like, whoo, jumping and doing flips. Now it's kind of like, yeah, nice car, whatever. I'm more interested in how it handles in the snow. Oh, it's both. Okay, okay. So Haps is linked to Periscope for a while. That's nice. I'm on my IG too, and I'm on. I don't know. I didn't do Facebook. Oh yeah, I want to see how it looks on IG. Oh, and YouTube. So when I go to YouTube, will I actually see the actual videos stored on YouTube? New toy. uh, yeah, I got so many toys, man. Until it's just ridiculous. I don't even. I don't even play with my toys anymore. All I've been doing is playing Call of Duty for the past 2 weeks. Yesterday, I got 64 kills in Nuketown. I wonder how these like 18-year-olds would feel if they knew that a 50-some-year-old dude was bodying them with a thermal scope on Nuketown. They were running around with a knife in Nuketown, getting like 12 kills with a knife. They probably be like, "Oh my god, you old people still game?" Like, yeah, man. But it's I guess it's time to move on, man. It's time to move on. Everybody, dude, I'm trying to break 70. I haven't broken 70. What's up, Bravo? Peace, peace. Namaste, y'all. Namaste. So I've been listening to Thich Nhat Hanh and who else I listened to yesterday? Oh, the Dalai Lama comment on the Heart Sutra, the Perfection of Wisdom, the Prajna Paramita. It's a pretty profound sutra, and I appreciate it. And I never really spent a lot of time meditating or contemplating on the Heart Sutra or the Perfection of Wisdom. I learned the Sanskrit verse gate gate pera gate pera sab gate bohitsva. which I guess which I'm learning. I'm still trying to learn these Sanskrit words, but I think it translates loosely into go beyond, go even further beyond, go all the way. And Bodhisattva is, if I'm not mistaken, refers to the wisdom. And I want to say it's the wisdom and practice become infused into one thing, and they're both intrinsically empty of any independent existence. So I think that's where I'm at with it right now. Um, these concepts, they take time when you're introduced to a new way of thinking about the world and life, and you're still caught up in the normal day-to-day cares of the world. You're dealing with I'm getting old, my body's breaking down. I can't eat certain foods no more because it messes me up, and it's just rough, man. My wife had to throw my hip back in the other day. Not my hip, but I think my SI joint was out, so I had like sciatica out for like 24 hours, and I'm kind of a silent sufferer. I don't really like to, I don't really like to complain too much. It's just my nature. My father was like that stoic Marine, and so that's just my nature. But it definitely, I'm aware, and I understand this, that when you are dealing with suffering, it's hard to focus. It's hard to concentrate. You know, it's hard to contemplate things of a spiritual nature, or even of a just morality and just regular psychological issues that we're trying to resolve. Because the suffering just distracts you. It pulls your mind this way and pulls you that way. It pulls you towards, you know, oh my God, this sciatica, man. I don't even know where the hell I've always had problems. So when I was in medical school, I went to a place called Mix Factory and got drunk, and I fell down a flight of pure black granite stairs, and my back took most of the load from that fall many, many, many years ago. And I remember laying on the couch, and my girlfriend at the time, who was like me, a student doctor, she tended to me on the couch for about a week, and I couldn't move off the couch. I ate on the couch. I could crawl to the bathroom and poop and pee. She brought me food, and I had like ibuprofen. And what's up? Let's talk. What's up, man? What's good with you? Let's talk, money. Last time we talked, bro, you was a bit distracted. You said like you didn't really want to talk about nothing spiritual. I don't know what's going on with you, but I remembered you when you came on just in that last conversation. you just kind of dipped, bro. You was just like, oh, you talking about that spiritual bullshit again, and you dipped. That's pretty much. You didn't say it like that, but that was kind of like. See, I remember stuff, man. I remember everything, bro. Whatever happens, man. I stay grounded so I can remember things. And then you was out, so I don't know what you was dealing with, bro. But hopefully, you gotta show me how to work it. Perhaps. I don't know. I just typed in HAPPS, and I went to my I went to the app store on the Apple app, the iPhone app store, and I downloaded Happs. Oh, good, good. I'm glad you. Oh, good, bro, good. Because when people say that kind of stuff, bro, I'll be like, oh man, that person's not in a good place. Like when you in a place when things of God become like, oh, that God shit, or oh, that spiritual shit, or that other, but you're not in a good place, man. Honestly. And I don't know if people realize that, like, there is no nothing else but that God shit, and the other, spiritual metaphysical shit. That it's just we don't realize it. Good work is good. Work is good. Work keeps us focused. Work is a path. It's part of the Eightfold Path in Buddhism, right vocation. But the key word there is right work. Right work. Right. Right work. So some of y'all on Haps don't know me. So for a second, let me pause. This is my first Haps broadcast. Let me pause and introduce myself to people. You always going through relationship problems, bro. Oh my God. You young bros, man. Y'all just be, oh my God. Y'all just be going through it, boy. Y'all just don't understand, though. Y'all go through it, and I know why now. Oh damn, got some money up this piece, boy. Appreciate it, sugar. I think I subscribed to you now, user. To you, sugar. Um, I need to be on here like Rep Mike. Y'all need to send the tithes and offerings to keep the message going. Ah. Y'all need to hit that help button and let the money flow from the coffers of the deep wells of the Most High. Y'all don't hear me, but I'm gonna go and let y'all hear the word because your mind ain't quite right. But I'm gonna get you set up today for some greater things. Don't spit it off. I know, sugar, right? It's so funny. But yeah, sugar, I got my car though, man. I'm excited. I want to drive it to work on a long drive, see how it performs. It's like a bucket list thing, you know, Porsche, okay, check out, I'm done with the. It's cool, Charmaine. It's cool. I'm curious to see. Beautiful. But hold on, bro. What you said you got problems with it already? You got a new one and you already got problems. I remember you had problems with the last one, bro. See, I'm telling you. Look, man. Look, I don't have them kind of problems no more, man. Yeah, I don't have them kind of problems no more. I haven't had an argument with my wife in probably like 2, 3 years. We've only been married for 7. I mean, it's like when you get to a certain place mentally, okay, then certain types of problems don't completely disappear, but OB, what's up, OB? Let me hey OB, I listen. I enjoyed it. Listen to your YouTube the other day. I appreciate it. What's up, OB? I listened to your YouTube, OB. I was on your YouTube the other day, and I didn't know you had some broadcasts on there. I don't have no problems with my new lady. Oh, good. Oh, good. Okay, talk. Okay. Oh, your ex. Oh, well, that's you always have problems with your ex, bro. That's why they call X. Don't you know X is a symbol of the devil? And some, I think, people told me when you say X, but in some religions and some walks, X is the symbol for the devil. So when you say that's my ex, oh my C, yeah, nice, nice. I just be day trading that crypto, man. I've been making money, bro. I'm telling y'all about that crypto, that Bitcoin and Ethereum. It be going up and down, up and down. And when it's going up and down, you can be ching cash, ching cash, ching cash. Y'all. But you gotta learn a little stuff. You gotta learn how to read graphs. You gotta learn about swing trade and things like that. You don't really have to learn that much. The last thing I dropped was just that album that I put out there called what was it called? Um, the one that's like Nas's album. I use Nas's album title, but I think that a lot of people not. I think they don't know that music is there. How much is it? How much is what? Ob? I think I lost you. The lost tapes. Yeah. So I put it under the drunken was it the drunken monk? I say I messed up. I put 2 different album titles on Spotify. One was The Drunken Monk, and then the other one is MC Drunken Monk, EMCE. So I got albums split up, and so that's why I messed up when I dropped that last album. It kind of sucks because it's actually some of my best stuff on there. Actually, some of the best music that I produced. I'm trying to see what OB meant when he said how much is. Oh, Bitcoin. Oh, it was other day when I swung back in, it was down to 30, and Ethereum was down to like 1250, 1260. So I swung back in. When you day trading, or you don't trade every single day. Sometimes you watch the markets, and you get apps and you get notifications when certain price targets are up or down, right? And so since I got a fair amount invested in it, uh, I'm on PS4 right now, bro. What you talking about? What you talking about, bro? I'm always on. Look at it, Cold War, baby. Assassin's Creed. I be playing Assassin's Creed. But how did I do this? No. Make it big. There we go. But yeah, you gotta know how to swing in and out of the crypto because those trades cost a fair amount of money. Okay, if you're trading, let's say you trade a couple $1,000s on a crypto, you made like $200-300 in profit. You're gonna spend $50 on the trade. Okay, you're gonna spend $50 to get out to liquefy. Okay, and so you have to really be fairly confident that you're gonna make some profit in every few days when you're trading like that. Because what you really end up doing after you make a fair amount of profits, you may liquidate everything, all your holdings, and then start over with another set of coins that you think are gonna be highly volatile. Because I had Ethereum and Bitcoin. I had another coin too. I have so many coins. I can't remember all these different coins, but some of the coins are lower value. And so what I do is when I think another set of coins other than Bitcoin is going to be really volatile, I'll drop all the Bitcoin. Maybe I'll drop it all on Ethereum, and Ethereum will swing between 1,200 and 1,400 right now. 1,200 to 1,400 swing is enough to make you some money. Okay, but you got to be, if you home like me, just chilling like this for weeks at a time, that's a perfect way to trade because you can sit there with your phone open. And I subscribe to this cryptocurrency app. I can see the candlesticks because I like to trade with candlesticks. I don't like to use graphs. When you really start trading, you got to have you got to have access to candlestick graphs. I told you this before, but at any rate, uh, Coinbase.com is the best place to do the trading on. You can use different apps if you want to see the values, but to actually get your money and actually buy coins and sell coins quickly, quick liquidity. Okay, this is very important. If you want to trade coins, you need to have quick liquidity. In other words, you got to be able to get out of a trade real fast and get into a trade real fast, or you'll lose money. Okay, Coinbase is so far, as far as I can see, the quickest platform out of San Francisco. So some of y'all want to get into it, start playing around with a couple $100 trading to see if you can make, once you make that first 15, 20, $30, you're going to be hooked like I was. You'll be, oh, I just turned $40 into 60. I just turned 60 into 120. Oh boy. You're going to be like, I don't really like the stock market anymore. This is a lot more accessible than stocks are. I'm not saying don't trade stocks. It's pretty much the same, but the liquidity get in and out of trades is so fast with crypto. It's so quick. Now, one thing I'm noticing on this app is that I can't see how many people are in the stream. So I'm not quite sure if it's gonna be a little different. It's gonna be a little bit different than Periscope. I can see that already. But at any rate, so yeah, those of you that come to Hap that don't know me, I'm from Periscope. My Periscope account was originally started to just put music out there and sort of promote the music that I had done in the past, future projects, things like that. Uh, I was always recording under a name called MC Drunken Monk or The Drunken Monk, and so I kept that name. I still keep that name. That name goes all the way back to when I was in professional school, and we started a band in professional school and medical school. Anyway, I just kept the name, but I changed it from the Drunken Monkey because I like Drunken Monkey Kung Fu martial arts to Drunken Monk because I started doing, uh, I started pursuing and studying and really becoming interested in spiritual matters. And so I changed the name accordingly as I changed. So there's history behind the name, but my background is in science and medicine. And like a lot of people, a lot of what I've learned spiritually is self taught, but I have definitely been raised in the Christian tradition and learned a lot through my life travels and studies about the Eastern tradition, specifically Hinduism, less Buddhism, more some Taoist stuff. Um, 65 reactoscope, 66. Oh, okay. Yeah, I can't really see like how many people react. So I'm wondering if there's a way while I'm broadcasting, if I can if I can see how many people I'm interacting with. It's kind of strange because I'm used to a Periscope. I can see how many people are actually in the room, in the chat room, and I can, so I'll know if I'm talking to myself or not. But I haven't, but I can't see here if people are still in here while I'm talking, so it's a little bit different. So I may have to 131 down in the corner. See, I don't see 131. So I wonder if I'm missing stuff. Maybe my setup is not right, Sugar. Maybe my setup is not right. um, so that I can see. So I'm gonna have to play around with this. So this is a good test run, though. This is a good test run. But I'm gonna have to perfect. I'm gonna have to polish this so I can see exactly what's going on. Hmm. I saw Uncle Juju broadcast yesterday. I think he's going to a different app than Happs. He talked about Happs. Uh oh, see, I'm on mobile too. So I wonder. Well, I'll get it figured out. I think there must be a different screen orientation. Let's see. So it says stream portrait, and I touch that, nothing happens. I see 4 bars that are yellow. It says great. I got a black screen, and I see my face in the upper right corner. And so I'm wondering if this setup is like not exactly optimal, but I'm gonna get it figured out. Yeah, I know I'm a techie, right? So I'm gonna work this out. I'm gonna work this out. But yeah, my Twitter account is. I've been on Twitter for a long time. I got a pretty large Twitter account. When I was really actively touring and doing shows all over the place, I got my Twitter account uh, promoted to a high level. So I have a pretty big Twitter account. And then I slowly just started. It was a decision for me, but I slowly started talking about other things in my life that I was interested. Shalom and namaste. I slowly understood that what people really needed was access to the things that I held of great value, the wisdom and the knowledge that I would, you know, keep to myself unless you saw me in the hospital or in the office. I started realizing like this is what people really need, like and the most valuable knowledge I have, the spiritual knowledge that I had through my life, through my pursuits. I started talking about that more and more and more on Periscope. And I started noticing like, okay, this is what people really want to need, And so I had this kind of shift away from just the shameless promotion of music, which I never was really good at anyway. I'm not really good at promoting things. Like there's a reason I went into health sciences because I honestly I'm not a good salesman. Most of the time I just don't really give a shit if you buy it or don't buy it. I just don't really care. That's just how I am, know. So I'll be like, hey, you want to buy these? You want to buy these M&Ms? So a funny story. When I was a kid, I would sell M&Ms for RTC, and I had a job. So what I would do is I would basically buy all my own. I would buy all of my own M&Ms for myself, and I would eat all of them on the bus. I think I would sell like maybe 2 or 3 boxes of them, but I was just like, I don't feel like running around the school begging people to buy these M&Ms. I just buy them myself. So that's what I did. And I would buy all the peanut M&Ms, and I would bring the money back because I had money from I was working at Sonic when I was in high school, and I think I used to sell like grit newspapers. Now this is telling my age. This is really telling my age. Do some of y'all remember grit newspaper? This is old school. Sugar, like I did sugar, I would just eat them all. I just like I ain't finna. You want to buy them or don't? Here they are. You want them? They right here in the box. You hungry? You want M&Ms? Give me $1. Otherwise, whatever. I just walk around with the box if you order them. And I think I'm the same way now. I'm like, you know what I do? If I got something that you need and it's for sale, services, goods, whatever, then you holler. If not, okay, let's keep it moving, just onto something else that we all understand. Because I don't like being sold to like that. And I feel like sometimes if you're not careful, what'll happen is you get so caught up in wanting people to do what you want that it becomes a very ego-based process. And what I've learned in my life is those really heavily uh, ego-based processes like that, they have the possibility of steering you off course in your life, because you won't realize that you want to be altruistic, you want to do things for the right reasons, but you're still so caught up in I need this, I need that, that it's sort of hiding your light. I guess I could say it's hiding your light from yourself. Your ego is, because the fear is that, oh, I still need X amount of this, X amount of that, money, food, shelter, human relations, whatever it is we think we need, and us always hijacking the moment that everyone needs. You see, because when we're sharing and connecting on a certain level, everyone needs that, but we all, like President Trump, he always hijack the moment, right? He would always stand in the camera and make it all about him. And people suffer because when you do that, when you always have to, it's all about me. So, that's my quick and dirty how I got on Periscope story. But um, yeah, I mean, I go back with when it comes to entertainment, when it comes to being in front of audiences and people. I'm no stranger to that. I've been on stages with microphones for some years now. Did some jazz, some hip hop, so it's made me very comfortable uh, in front of an audience, improvising, talking about topics. And since I know the topics that I talk about fairly well, it's not difficult for me to just start talking. And I think you have to be at that point when you're talking about a subject that you're so comfortable. Like I could talk about medicine in my dreams. I think I had a dream the other day when I was diagnosing somebody. It was a weird dream. I think I was talking about something medical, and in my dream, I was like, "No, it's that." And it was just like, and then I was laughing because I woke up and I said, "Oh, that's pretty cool." That even though in my dream I'm not this person, the knowledge that I got from this life is still following me into the dream world, and I'm still able to pull, which to me is just evidence of certain concepts like reincarnation. Because what that really says is that the knowledge that we have. Try to get my iPhone to charge. I got this new thing. It don't work. So I got this chair. This chair. See, and it's supposed to have chargers on it, but the iPhone is so janky. The iPhone only wants to accept certain types of chargers. And so I noticed you have to like plug it in, pull it out, plug it in, pull it out. And then eventually it'll accept it. Oh, there it goes. It's just not making that little sound like ding, but it was actually charging the whole time. So yeah, read the Prajna Paramita. Some people use it as a mantra, but really, I didn't realize that it was Avalokiteshvara. the Bodhisattva. Some of y'all don't understand who Avalokiteshvara is, and I'm still learning. But let me show you. Let me show y'all a picture of what I have as Avalokiteshvara. Hold on. So I think this is Avalokiteshvara. I'm pretty sure it is the Bodhisattva of compassion, representation of Avalokiteshvara. This right here, I think it's Avalokiteshvara. Some of y'all see him, her as a multi-armed deity, but not really a deity. A Bodhisattva is not a deity. A Bodhisattva is a human being that's evolved. Okay. Uh, so just to give you guys a visual, and when I bought this, I didn't realize this was Avalokiteshvara, and I know it's Avalokiteshvara because of the multiple arms. You see, I'm not sure if six is the usual number or two sets of arms. Sorry, six limbs. Uh, But when you read the Avalokiteshvara, my understanding now is that it's, I'm sorry, the Prajna Paramita, it's a gift from Avalokiteshvara, a bodhisattva, a great being of compassion. And the gift is that Avalokiteshvara is explaining that the deepest wisdom, most profound wisdom that a spiritual aspirant needs is the realization of emptiness. And the realization of emptiness, and Thich Nhat Hanh talked about this. It's not six arms, it's two arms. But my understanding is that so he, she can help more than one person at a time, can help many people, can help many people at one time. Instead of just focusing on one person, can be available. He can be available. I think he's unisex. I think he's not he or she anymore. At some point, gender, at some point, spiritually, gender does not come into play. Okay. So I don't think it's a he or she, but you notice some of the East Indian deities look kind of like unisex. But Thich Nhat Hanh was explaining it like this. He said, you look at a piece of paper. He said the cloud is in the paper. Okay. So when I look at this, Var talks about emptiness, is that type of emptiness. The realization of emptiness is the highest wisdom that helps us not be attached to pain, suffering, cravings, aversion, and attraction. But when Thich Nhat Hanh said the cloud is in the paper, the way he explained it was that without rain, you got no trees. Without trees, you have no paper. Okay. And then he said the uh, the ground, the soil, most definitely is in the paper. Yes. He went on to say the lumberjack that cut the tree down is also represented on some energetic level, connected to the paper. And he kept going and he kept going and he said, tell me one thing that's not connected to paper. And it's a very profound way of looking at emptiness. And what it says is that when you look at paper, you can't find paper. What you really find is everything else, right? Everything else that's in the freaking universe on the earth is represented in paper. Okay. In paper in our mind, to make it quick, simple, and easy, we say, oh, paper, boom, got it. Okay. Yeah. But when you contemplate things and you look at them deeply, you see that they are represented by everything that they're not. And so when we see the people around us and the communities that we live in, our spouses, our family, friends, we need to realize that the projection of what they are onto us and vice versa is who we really are. Like we they're like what we think we are. One way of thinking about it is similar to what Thich Nhat Hanh did. So when you think about all the events in your life that you say are you didn't really create those events. The basketball game that you were at was attended by many people, your teammates. Without them, you wouldn't have any memories. If you were in a black void floating with a basketball, or not, because you wouldn't have one. You're in a black void. You wouldn't have any concept of a basketball court and the stadiums or the bleachers and the people there and your teammates and the yelling, the screaming, and the popcorn and all of that. Yeah, everything that you're thinking about when you have that memory of myself as a basketball player in high school, which I did not run track, but I'm just saying, was created by everything, mostly everything outside of yourself. Okay. And so the memory is really, on some levels, empty of any intrinsicness. In other words, it's not an isolated memory or event that you yourself, in this empty universe with just you in it, created. It was everything else around. We call it dependent co-arising in Buddhism, but everything else defined that. Okay. In that relationship, when it says form is emptiness, emptiness is form, it's saying that when you look deeply into a thing, you don't see the thing. Okay. And this is easy to understand if you study atomic physics. You understand energy changes forms. Energy can't be created nor destroyed. Um, he also said something that's very profound. He said, for anything to have an intrinsic emptiness, I'm sorry, an intrinsic non-changeable form means that it's dead, right? If something cannot change forms from this to that, um, redemption. What's up, redemption? When things cannot change form, like if my body right now, namaste, redemption, hello from Santa Fe, New Mexico, right? I'm bad with geography. I have to think about it. I used to live in Texas when I was a boy, but things have to be able to change. Impermanence is the key concept of emptiness. And so, if things, life itself, at the most basic root level, can be, if you contemplate and think on this deeply, can be defined as or looked at as an embodiment of change, of the ability to go from this to that forever. That can be a way of looking at life from a mundane level, because there's a level beyond that. But when you think about that, it's easy if you're in science, you know. Yeah, I'm on here, man. I used to live. I went to Fort Sam Houston when I was in my AIT. When I was training to be a combat medic in the Army, I went to San Antonio for 12 weeks and did my AIT, 91 Bravo, 91 Alpha 10 back then. United States Army combat medic. And then when you become a sergeant, it becomes a Bravo. You become a Bravo, 91 Bravo. And then my father was living in Dallas, Texas, in Oak Cliff. I used to go there in the summertime. So I got some history in Texas. Most of my family, my siblings, all of my siblings live in Texas, in Dallas right now. They're all there right now. So maybe I'll drive my new car down to Dallas and hang out with my sister sometime later this year. So my wife we're all kind of getting a bit cabin fevered out. It's been almost a year since this coronavirus started. I've been pretty good about locking myself up, but we all got our limits. So we can tolerate. But the meditations on emptiness really, you have to do this over. I'll remember that, dude. I will. If I come through San Antonio, I'll hit you up. I remember we used to go hang out at this Pizza Hut down near the Alamo. We used to go down there and drink all these margaritas and get drunk and some beer. And then try to make it back before, in the military, you can't be showing up late for muster, man. That will get you in jail. And people would definitely get in trouble. Article 15s left and right from partying too hard and tearing up hotel rooms, as people used to do, tearing up hotel rooms. But you have to contemplate this interdependence, which is another way of saying emptiness. You have to do it moment to moment. It's really. I mean, if you think about this, it's true. And I never thought of it like that. This is why contemplation is important. If something is solid and cannot change, it is dead, right? That's what happens with the human body. When the body can't change from this state to that state easy, make ATP, create energy, it can't use oxygen to create ATP anymore. The state the oxygen is in stays more like that, right? The state the cells are in at this point stays more like that they were before in the previous moment. They're less like the new thing. The new thing is still happening. It's just happening in a different way, slower or faster, depending on how you look at it. Let's just say slower for argument's sake. And so now the body's oxidizing energy or creating energy. What's up, KC Edward? What's up? Namaste, bro. Blessings to you, my friend, in the new year. The new regime changes happen peacefully, thank God, in our country. Which I knew it would. I knew America would rise to the occasion. You just got to wild out a little bit. You know, America, the home of pop culture. We got to be a little bit dramatic. We got to be a little bit dramatic over here before we get it done. You got to put a little. I don't know, Jay. They say quiet on it. Let's say save our fare. What's the word I can't think of? I can't think of the French words. So you want everybody to stream, huh? You trying to get it in today, huh, Vice? You want to get all the OGs on here, huh? I saw you the other day, Edward. You were talking to somebody. You were discussing something about Christ with somebody. You talking about Christians being the living body of Christ. I was listening to you. I was outside the scope, but I heard you. I be listening to y'all. Sometimes y'all don't know I be in the background listening outside the scopes. You never know who's listening, man. You never know who's listening. But you were straight. You were straight. You were saying that we have to be literally the embodiment of Christ's body on earth, heaven on earth. And I like, yep, I love it, and I agree. Because the word is dead, it's not living. Yeah, it's been a really like what's the word? Oddball election year. It's really been different, man. Really been different. Um, but yeah, if something can't change, that's what we call death in medicine. You know, your heart can't change its shape, right? It used to be able to go from this shape to that shape, love dub, and now love no dub, right? That's called death. And so this is something you gotta understand in metaphysics. Any concept, any concept that is grounded in truth, like what I said about love dub being death, will lead you to a deeper spiritual understanding if you stick with it, which is what contemplation is. Okay. So when I think about a person that can't change, it says the wages of sin is death, right? Mm, yeah. Yeah, but let's be sure not to villainize darkness too bad, since the universe is mostly darkness. And since I'm dark skinned. let's just say let's just say darkness is the backdrop on which things happen. The great catalyst. I haven't really fully come to grips with darkness yet. I mean, there's so much to learn. There's only so much I can learn so fast, you know. So I'm not going to claim to know everything, but I have come to understand uh, that the darkness is necessary. Yeah, so far, what I'm interested in is when I leave, when I sign off of Happs, I'm gonna go to my Instagram and I'm gonna go to my YouTube, and I want to see if now I'm able to broadcast in one place and everything be carried over into the different platforms. That to me would be optimal and great. And then maybe one day, if Facebook doesn't piss me off, I'll add them. But right now, I don't really care to add my Facebook people because I don't think they're open minded enough to have these conversations yet. I'm probably underestimating. Well, let me restate that. 75% of the people on Facebook are fine. They can have this conversation, but it's the minority on there that knowledge as actual knowledge. Yeah, but you got to be careful with that one too because the state of the absence of knowledge doesn't exist, right? That state is a human creation, right? Yeah, I was challenged. You know, I'm a challenge. That's what I do, right? Because that state of there being zero knowledge is a if taken to its fruition is an absolute state, and the creation that can't exist without some form of information. In the state that's beyond that is the mystery that we can't really talk on. So, uh, but I know what you're saying in the mundane arena. I understand what you're saying. I understand what you're saying because the kleshas, the poisons, are ignorance, hatred, anger, aversion, and attraction, jealousy, and envy. We call these the poisons. So, from a mundane standpoint, I understand what you're saying. It's important to understand the mundane and super mundane concepts simultaneously because honestly, this is what we're trying to do as spiritual beings. We're trying to integrate the physical and the spiritual. That's always integrated anyway, but we're trying to realize that with the light of our perception, that the gift of the universe to us, this consciousness, we're trying to realize these things. And so the knowledge that you talk about is simply the bringing into this stream this uh, arena of consciousness that we have mustered together, even though it's much bigger than that. Logos, yeah, logos. Knowledge became flesh. I looked that word up the other day after we talked about the logos. I looked it up. It's got definitely some pretty deep meanings to it. I think knowledge is one of them, and I think perception and understanding was it had different meanings to it. The logos, it definitely is a word that's in the Christian vernacular, logos. But ultimately, yeah, I mean, there has to be some stream of vibration or some bit of knowledge in the darkest corners of the universe. We call it the 0 point sometimes, because we understand now in physics that there is no void. We don't know what that means. There's always a ground state. If you there's a I'm not sure. I think it will. I think Happs will let you invite people. I just don't know. Let's see. Tap on the user to invite them. You can filter this list. Invite guests. Huh. KC. Let's see. I was trying to invite you up, but I can't figure it out. I gotta get used to Happs, man. Yeah, there's a way to do it though. I need to get. See, there's a plus. There's a blue plus over here to the right with people on it, a circle, and I hit that. But then it says put in KEC. I'm gonna put that in and see what happens. Hmm. I see people. Huh. I see a lot of people but I don't know these people. I wonder if they're pulling the people up from my old. I mean, from well, old now, from Periscope that I haven't interacted with. Oh, okay, okay. I'm broadcasting, and Periscope is able to. You can chat on. You can type chat, text chat, but you can't. But if you come to Happs, maybe then you'll be able to. But back to emptiness. Uh, See, this is very important because even what we're saying about knowledge and wisdom, um, does on a level, every level, relate to that. Um, that when we talk about as knowledge and wisdom, is always a morphic, moving field. And I talked about the 0 point in physics, but this is an exercise. It's not really important, but um, it took me like 5 minutes, Ed, like 5 minutes. I was like boom, 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 and then like I connected my Instagram, YouTube, Periscope, and Twitter, like all like that. So I think right now I should be broadcasting on different platforms, but I'll see when it's over when I go to these platforms. I don't know if Instagram even supports this type of long, 1 hour long. I think it does. Yeah, I think IG. Yeah, no, you can. You can broadcast on IG for a minute, and I think obviously YouTube you can broadcast for hours at a time too. So, um, but yeah, the ground state electron. There's there's exercise in physics you do in graduate school when I took quantum mechanics. It's called particle in a box. Okay, and what you end up figuring out is that the ground state, when the particle is completely at rest, or there's different levels of excitation in quantum mechanics, zero level, one, two, three, four, five, um, different modes of harmonics, we call it. But at the lowest level, it's not zero. Okay, it's not zero. And this is interesting. When you first go into chemistry, you have these concepts in your mind that, oh, there can be a state somewhere in space, whatever space is. We don't ever get into that, but there's a state somewhere in space where there's zero energy. That doesn't exist. It says energy can't be created nor destroyed and is constantly in flux. What that says, simply looking at science and not even metaphysics, is that we cannot talk about nothing. One, we can't talk about nothing. Doesn't make any. You can, but what you're saying is a bunch of gibberish. It doesn't exist. Two, the thing that you talk about is constantly changing. Okay, from one form of energy to a different form of energy. And so again, like I said, when you take any concept in metaphysics, which you can take concepts from physics and contemplate them, it will lead you to deeper insights about other things that you've been trying to figure out in religion and spirituality. And the concept that you can't have nothing, and nothing is something, or a flux, a relationship that's constantly moving and changing. You know, it's a beautiful concept. That means that everything is interrelated. Interrelated. Bruce Lee said all knowledge is self knowledge, which I agree with. Uh, and knowledge really is nothing more than self awareness. Okay. And self is a moving, fluctuating target. Okay. And so the more the more I'm grounded in now, this moment, and the more my mind is able to concentrate and meditate deeper, the more of me I'm able to understand. And to me, that's what knowledge is, you see. And since the word is related to light, light, and gnosis, knowledge, lecte, light, know, gnosis, understanding, knowing, really what you get into is almost like a beam of awareness that's expanded. This is what knowledge is. So when someone's giving you information, what they're really doing is sharing themselves, whether they know it or not. If the information is false, doesn't I don't know if it's really even if that's even possible for anything to be completely false. Okay, I'm gonna say it's impossible for anything to be completely false. That so there's levels of truthfulness, levels of awareness, levels of honesty. Okay, levels of honesty, levels of contemplation. So when someone's really, really doing the work, and the work is pushing them into areas of deeper self-awareness, the thing that they're sharing is less it's less vested with well, let's just say it's more holistic, it's more inclusive. Okay, it's more inclusive, and it hits the point, and it's able to bring people. help people realize these truths easier, because it is more of you know this thing that's just what it is. I would say less ego based, and I'm saying that because when I study history, I understand that there's styles of history. Each author has their own style of history, and you could honestly say that it's impossible to write history correctly. Why do I say that? Because nobody can take into account every factor that led to an event. Okay, whether it's science or history. How can history not be related to science? Like these aren't things that are doing it. A tank isn't made of metal. I mean, that's does it have an engine? So, or a person that's on in a social party doesn't have a body and a voice and a heartbeat. Like you can't. It's arbitrary to separate things into disciplines: history, science, socialism, right? But it doesn't happen in a vacuum. And so, an author of history has to choose what perspective they're going to write from. You can write about Jesus from the Middle Eastern, if you will. I hate that word Middle Eastern, but from the Eastern standpoint of people that spoke Aramaic, which nobody speaks Aramaic anymore, or East Indian Sanskrit community. But each community that gives you the history of a person or an event, it's going to be a little bit different, right? And so realizing, like Thich Nhat Hanh said, that the paper has included in it the cloud, the water, the lumberjack, the oxygen that's in the atmosphere. It's all included in what we call paper. Paper is everything but paper. Human beings are a similar phenomena. We're everything but what we think we are. That's the whole paradox of being a human being. You know, cells are made of carbon and hydrogen and oxygen and nitrogen and certain molecular configurations that allow certain energetic processes to take place. You know, that allow for certain sense organs to perceive events partially, keyword partially, depending on this mystical phenomenon called awareness that is filtering reality through the five senses that are related to these physical phenomena we call impermanence or laws. So you can see how once you look at it from that standpoint, that we're everything but what our ego says we are, and the events are the same. They're all interrelated. They're all empty of their own intrinsic existence. What's up, KC? Yeah, I'm trying Haps because it's about that time to move. And the wonderful thing about Haps looks like you can broadcast on different social platforms at the same time and have just one thing, and not have to go from Instagram, YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, and copy and post and broadcast all over the place. You want to see my broadcast here? You got. Hopefully it works out. We'll see. We'll see. The beautiful thing about impermanence and emptiness, the great perfection of wisdom. Yeah, I saw your comment. It said, "Hello, sir." Now in Haps. That's what you said, right? um, the wonderful thing about the perfection of wisdom, you understand something like prajna paramita. Paramitas, if I'm not mistaken, in Sanskrit mean perfection, perfection of wisdom. There's certain aspects of our being that when they're perfected, they bring about the deepest level of insight. The fact that the highest level of wisdom in the Eastern sense, and really, period, in my opinion, is that nothing is what it seems to be, and that everything is devoid of being created or destroyed as an absolute. Honestly think Christianity went about talking about eternal life just in a different way, and the whole realization about what we mean by life, and then this word eternal, when it was taken by our ancestors and contemplated on the deepest level, and it ended up in things like the Prajna Pradamita, where Avalokiteshvara is this great evolved consciousness, this being that has evolved this compassion and wisdom to the highest levels possible for a human being, what we call saints in Christianity, is able to share with us that you can stand on the truth. Okay, it's just your choice whether you want to or not. And if you don't practice standing on the truth when you're in times of doubt or pain or suffering or discord, you're not going to ever learn to stand on the truth. You're always going to learn to stand on absolutes, relative reality, but only one part of it. Relative reality is always this and that, but everybody's choosing to stand on the left or the right, right? Because they're too afraid to stand on the absolutes. You see, got to get used to it. KC, what you got to get used to, Haps or standing in the absolute? LA, baby, what's up? I know about LA. I was out there a couple times with a cameraman trying to shoot some music videos. I mean, Christianity, you say stand on the promises, stand on the truth. We need to be a little bit more analytical in Christianity. We need to bring a little bit more of the tools from the scientific community. Oh, Haps, and we need to bring, you know, rhetoric. So you understand rhetoric, which is what we're doing right now. I just recently understood this. There's different forms of rhetoric. Rhetoric can be based on a person's title. It can be based on what's called an emotional response, or it can be based on logic. You see, and whenever you engage in the rhetoric, you're asking people to connect with you. One of those things is happening. You're saying either it's an emotional plea to you, just like, look, don't you understand? It's really there. It's a cloud. It's beautiful. Okay. Or it can be like, I'm an expert on the cloud. What I say about clouds is true. Or it can be based on, I deduced that the water droplets rise from the ground into the air. We've measured the particles. We call them droplets. This is what we call a cloud. That's based on logic. So whenever someone's engaging you in this type of discourse, you need to understand, like advertising, are they trying to engage you emotionally based on their background and their title? They're some sort of expert, or is it based on they're using the tools of logic that we got from our ancestors? And then you'll be able to see different styles of teaching, and then you can say, well, this person's a combination. They're funny, they use emotion and human connection, but they also very much are grounded in logic, and they want you to understand that through this course of logic you can deduce these things for yourself, not just because I'm an expert or because I have this great emotional response like a Hollywood actress. I can suck you into the movie. Like those things together, flowing, ebbing into each other, are a better way to engage and teach than just me. I'm the expert. Like, no, no, we already talked about impermanence, so I don't need to get back into that right now. Nobody's the expert on anything. We're all like in this sea of perception and change that's in flux, and we have these checkpoints along the way that we get from the past that we use as memories. But I've already talked about memories already. I said no memory is perfect because it doesn't include every other person's perception, like the basketball game. You saw yourself as the point guard that was the center of the game, getting all the points, but the cheerleaders thought they were the thing, that they were the reason everyone was there because of the cheerleaders, and most likely that's why I was at the game, because of the cheerleaders. Not because of the basketball players. I really didn't give a damn about basketball when I was younger, so I wanted to see the cheerleaders because I was dating one of them. It's pretty good. Caps is pretty good. So far I'm able. I think I'm able to connect. It took like 5 minutes to set up. I connected my Twitter, Instagram, and my YouTube account all to this Happs account, and I think I'm broadcasting on all those platforms right now. Is Ed Monk? Y'all lost me. Yeah, I ain't gonna lie, y'all lost me. I was looking at this shit. I'm trying to figure out what's really going on. But yeah, man. You have to practice this type of being, and not being so grounded all the time in these absolutes. Because whatever it is that we are gaining our sense of being from, we have to really understand. Like it may still be based on concepts and points of points of perception that are still not refined yet into the purest sense. I think I just invited you. Let's see. I said subscribe to user. Okay, I subscribed. I think I subscribed to. I've subscribed to Sugar. I subscribed to KC. But I wonder if I'm subscribing to y'all on Happs, or am I subscribing to y'all on Periscope still? It'll be easier once Periscope is completely gone, because now it's really getting confusing, right? Going between the different apps, inviting people, trying to get them up into the beam so they can talk and share with you. But it's all good, man. It's all good. It's all love. Um, I based my life on the pursuit of wisdom and knowledge over ignorance, and as Ed said, darkness. Because in that sense, it is. Because to me, darkness is, you know, the projection of non-absolutes, non-truths on the people, um, and yourself sitting in those. In that process, creating discord and suffering for others. To me, that's what darkness is. Closer to what I think it is. It's based on fear, which is a false understanding of reality. Future events are not real. Fear, FEAR, right? False events appearing as reality. Uh, fake, fake aptitudes, always ready. Fake ego-based aptitudes, always ready. Fear. I can keep going. I can make a bunch of those out of fear, right? Fake, egotistical, analytical, realist. I can keep going, but I'll stop. I'll stop. But it's fear based, and so you have to get comfortable with your own shortcomings, which are based on sense of lack, want, fear of dying, fear of living. For some people, and just readily engage those when they come about. Kind of be like Mayweather spiritually, always on your toes, bouncing, ready, poised, but not reacting to anything until it presents itself, you see. But then reacting naturally based on what you've gained from your practice. Whoa, what was
Whoa,
that?
what was that?
It was like two.
Two,
It did it again.
it did it again.
I think it's trying to
I
bring
think it's
somebody
trying to
else
bring
up.
somebody else up. Yeah, it's trying to bring me up.
Oh, there it
Oh,
goes.
there it
Whoa.
goes. Whoa. Yeah, it takes a long time to get in there.
But it's still
But
showing
it's
me
still showing me
twice.
twice. Yeah, it's showing me twice on my end. I don't know what that means.
As long as the echo
As long as
goes
the
away,
echo goes away,
they're still
it's
echoing.
still.
Well, no, there's a delay, little bit of a delay.
It's interesting.
Are you hearing a delay when you talk? Like you talk and then there's a lag and then you hear the words?
No, I don't hear it. Not on my end yet.
Okay. Maybe it's working itself out. Because it's got
Yeah,
me and
because
you on a split screen on the left, and I can see half my
yeah,
head, like from here down.
yeah, I can see it too, but I don't know why it's doing what it's doing. Okay, now I see you half and half.
Okay, yeah, I see half my head. I
Okay,
see
yeah,
half your head.
Now
I
you can
guess I
see
can
all of
adjust
me
the
now.
camera. Let's see if that does it. Okay, so if I put my head right into that square box, it makes it a little
Yeah.
different. How to fix that? Oh, somebody told you how to fix it, Sugar? The echo's gone. The echo's gone. I mean,
Yeah,
it's
but
still working.
now you're not live. It's frozen. It's interesting.
Oh, can you still hear my voice?
No, I can hear your voice, but it's
It's
let's
frozen.
see if we can see. See, can you see that?
Yeah, I can see outside your car.
Yeah, I'm in a cemetery right now, getting ready to do a service.
Oh, nice. Well, not nice for.
Uh,
Well, depends how you look at it, I
well, we celebrate life.
guess.
We celebrate life. We don't mourn death.
Yeah, yeah. I'm not really. You know, I with that. I'm not really one of these. Oh, death is horrible. You know, sometimes
Uh,
it's needed.
so this is pretty interesting. It's my first time on Happs.
Oh, nice.
Uh,
Me and you both. This is
I
my first time on it too, bro.
yeah, I downloaded a long time ago, but I just never really got into it yet. But it's starting to work. So you've been on for an hour and 11 minutes, though.
Yeah, yeah. So I'm really interested to see when I go to my YouTube. Is it gonna be there? Is this gonna be there? Is when I go to my Instagram? Is this gonna be there? Because that's what I really hope. I really hope that now multiple platforms can be saved without having to, do, do different platforms.
Yeah,
That will
I'm
that will
gonna
be
send
the
you some.
selling point for me. That's the selling
Yeah,
point for
yeah.
me. Yeah.
I'm gonna send you some information called a Life 39, but just see it. I want you to read up on it. But I'm
What's it
talking
called?
about uh
Life.
Life 39.
Okay.
But it's in reference to the pain stuff I was telling you about. People
Mm.
who dealing with people dealing with pain, and
Oh yeah.
if they need to it's a non medical thing, but it's been
Mm.
pretty popular around the world now.
Oh wow. Is it hospice related or different than that?
People in hospice use it, but it's actually patches that you can put on different points. Like I wear them sometime on my temple, or I put them on my back. You put them in different
Mm.
places, and it actually releases the chemicals in your body.
Ah,
Pretty
okay.
cool.
Like endorphins and enkephalins and those things that we talk about. Huh?
Yeah. So can you see me big now?
Yeah, nice bow tie.
Thanks. I don't see it's off screen now. It's not separate screens again.
You like one of my frat brothers with that bow tie on, bro. Like you like a noob, a kappa.
No. You
Because you know
know
we
me
wear
and the
we wear the
Greek.
bow ties all the time, bro.
You know me and the Greeks. Yo, Christianity try to stay away from the Greeks.
uh, well, the Greeks they barred all our stuff anyway. So.
Yeah. Well, but they were the library people. They had the big library.
Yeah, that was they stored information and plagiarized and didn't give credit to who they plagiarized from.
Yeah, they didn't do that. You are the what does it say?
You
Monk.
guys
I
are
don't
the
know.
same size screen for us. Oh, really? Oh, for
Really?
me and you were split, but for them we're the same size.
Well, I'm not split at all. I don't even see you anymore.
I see you, and I see myself in a split screen.
So on me, I'm just by myself. I'm on by myself now. But I just wanted to go through real quick what I was sharing with you before
Mm,
uh, about the historical truths of what you and I were talking about
mm,
when we talk about knowledge or logos what I consider kingdom communication or kingdom talk,
mm,
because logos means image bearer. So when the Bible says that the word in the beginning was the word, and the
mm,
word was with God. Well, how do we communicate now? We communicate through word.
mm,
Okay. So why would God send the word? Well, we would recognize the word, but that word became flesh and dwelt among us. So the very image of who God was became flesh, but it came in the form of word so that we'll be able to understand it. That's why when we talk about the word of God,
yeah.
the word of God is actually, like, if I say to you syringe, like you and I talked about before, well, the
Mm.
syringe is a word, but it's actual a physical thing that you can see.
Okay,
So
so stop there for a second. Let me interject. Okay, so when people are at different levels of understanding, the words themselves have different meaning to them. So me, as a person that studied physics and chemistry and spirituality, when somebody says to me, something like the vibration of the word became reality, I have no problem with that because I understand that, when I study quantum mechanics, I'm studying the harmonic oscillator. Okay, I'm studying vibrating strings. I'm studying concepts that literally get deep into what vibration and word is. Okay, the fascinating thing is this, and I really challenge people to do this because they don't want to do it. Just take a concept like word or vibration, or even whatever at whatever level that you're comfortable with it at. Take it one step deeper beyond what you know about it, which for me will take the rest of my life because I can't, because the pianos and those types of things, these all create vibrations. And then take communication, because we're talking about when we talk about vibration and word, we're really low key. What we're talking about is some form of communication. Okay, and what'll happen? What's happened for me is that the deepness and richness of what that really means starts revealing itself. And it really starts meaning a lot more than I can even put into words and share with people. It becomes almost like an abstract mental concept. But the concept before it becomes abstract is very, very, very it's a plentitude of what you call knowledge and information about it. Because the vibration, everything in the universe, when it's manifest, has some form of vibratory communication between itself and something else. Okay, electrons and protons, quarks and gluons, et cetera, et cetera. But the thing is this: when we talk about the actual pinning down that thing, it can't be done. Okay, so those concepts for me, they still mean what I think my Christian brothers and sisters talk about when they talk about it. But I think what I've come to understand through the interdisciplinary studies is that there's no end to really how far that rabbit hole goes. But what we do is we stand on a certain point and we discuss it because there's a need for that. That's compassion. Like in other words, okay, if I see somebody and husband and wife can't communicate properly, they don't know how to use literally words properly. They don't understand the tone of their voice, their body language. That's where I'm gonna stand with them on that knowledge of the word. Okay, but if a student comes to me and he wants to understand for his thesis what a harmonic oscillator is and what sound waves are, then and how vibratory energetic patterns become energy and become matter, that's a whole different thing. The two things are related. And it seems to some people, I think that this thing can be discarded with because it's so abstract. But what I've come to understand is that it can't. It just depends on when you get there. That's all. Okay. And
Yeah.
neither one is better than the other. This ivory tower understanding of vibration or the religious understanding of word is not better or worse than this straightforward, very pragmatic understanding. This guy says, well, to me, the word is when I move my vocal cords, and you understand what I'm saying. They're both right. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But
But I think that based on what you're saying, I think that where most of us who haven't studied metaphysics or any of those things that you just said, most of us who are just dealing with just handling English, the English language by itself, because
yeah,
most of us, especially in the West, are not multilingual people.
mm.
So when we talk about,
You are multilingual. You just don't know it. You're
yeah,
multilingual.
I know, yeah, yeah.
You're talking to the whole universe right now. Your body.
I know, but no,
Okay.
but I
Okay.
know,
Just.
but yeah, yeah, yeah. But you got to realize, for me, because as a believer in the Word of God, I put those into different departments. Like my physical person, my flesh is different than my soul. They're going to contact the three-dimensional world differently. Then my spirit, who I really am, is going to contact God differently, because the way I see it based on scripture, my flesh and my soul cannot contact God in the way God is designed, because God is spirit. So the only part of me that can actually contact God is my spirit, because God is spirit. Now, for me to live here on planet Earth,
uh,
I need a physical body and I have a soul, which allows me to then interact with the three-dimensional world, which operates through my five senses.
yeah, the five senses are a very coarse way of understanding reality, and that's what when the monks understand this better than we do. That the way we get knowledge
The way
through
we
these five senses is so slow and so particular to us. The whole process of combining compassion and
process of
wisdom,
combining compassion and wisdom.
which is knowledge, okay, is really the understanding that
Hear me?
I
Can you hear
that
me?
that, that yeah, I hear you. I hear you.
Yeah, I hear you. I hear you. Yeah, I just know I got bumped out from a phone call.
Oh,
1 second. Oh, I'm gonna come right back up. But I gotta take this
okay.
call from a funeral. Okay. The
All right.
body's coming. So. All right.
Oh yeah, no,
Oh
you
yeah.
gotta do
No.
that work, man. God bless you.
Yeah. Yeah. Thanks.
All right, but I understand what he's saying. I think me and Ed don't really, we don't completely disagree. It's just I'm always trying to push people and push myself to maybe it's because I was a squad leader in the army. I don't know. It's certain things. It's about me. Like I push people. That's what I do, and I don't mind being pushed. Okay, but when he said that us understanding English and that we compartmentalize things. What's up from Oakland? What's up, my old stomping ground, baby? I used to live in downtown Oakland, right across from the federal building. I love my time in the Bay, man. I always cherish it. East Bay, man, East Bay. But it's okay. How can how do I say this? Like like in the Bible, it talks about living in the flesh and living in the spirit. Okay, to do that is a state of mind where you understand that the part of you that that you're barely perceptible of, but that is indefinable, that part has to always be a part of the conversation. Okay, your conversation, the word that you have with the rest of the creation around you. When that part of you is not a part of the conversation anymore, what you're speaking is gibberish. I'm just to be honest. This is how I feel about it. You're talking about something from a mundane aspect, and your lips are moving, but they're not saying anything. Okay. Now that sounds harsh. That sounds harsh. Okay. And at some point, maybe it may need to be because to really understand is to not understand. It's difficult. It's difficult. I don't see how it could be anything other than I appreciate it, Key. y'all lacing the collection plate, huh? Anything that y'all give me on here, I'm gonna give it to somebody else that's needy on here. So be aware, I'm not gonna use anything that comes from this Happs. I still don't have the money from Periscope. I don't know how to get it. I don't understand how to cash out all the hearts. but but there is the need to talk about the mundane as it is, as we perceive it, but the whole spirit that motivates it in the conversation and what illuminates that conversation and that knowledge is this little imperceptible, indefinable, energetic being within us. Okay, that tells us, that informs us that all the disconnects and categories are arbitrary. Like, is chemistry and physics really different? No, of course not. They're the same thing. Everybody knows that. If you're in chemistry and physics, you better know it. If you say you're a physicist or a chemist, you're studying the same thing from a different aspect. But there are people that really, 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 really believe that the proper way to talk about the universe is physics. Okay, and that if you don't talk about it from that standpoint, and you start including metaphysical things or chemistry that you don't really have a good understanding, that's false. That's not true. Yeah, I'm on Haps. What's up, PLF? I'm on Haps. Trying to get this Hap thing popping, trying to get people from cross platforms to go ahead and let's come on, go and have this conversation since we're in a new era now. Oh yeah, I'm on Haps right now, and I included my Periscope. so that I could cross platform with people. Um, but yeah, I mean, if you take any concept, communication, the word was God. Like when I hear the word, I hear vibratory energies. That's what I hear. I don't hear nothing else. I hear something else, but but it's related to this interchanging, interfluctuating. And he said that people don't study metaphysics, and I agree with him. And I agree that you have to meet people where they're at, but you have to also give them a seed if they're not there. Come on, Periscope, so I can get your haps. How does that work anyway? I had a can you see this? Like, oh, like I thought my haps was in this is it in the title? Like, did I put my haps in the title? I think it's whatever forward slash drunken monk, all lowercase. But I don't know what the URL is. It's haps something something. This forward slash and then it's drunken monk, all one word. But yeah, I mean, the seed is the good news they call it in Christianity. Okay, the seed is the promise. Is in the upper left corner in the title. Okay, the seed is that ray of hope that it surpasses all understanding. Because hope that's always based in my understanding is shaky hope. Okay, that means that at the point where I can no longer completely comprehend the thing, I stop right there. I freeze. That's fear, right? Now, when you get to the precipice of where fear is and knowledge, where they both coexist, for knowledge to progress, you have to step into that arena where there's a little bit of fear, which means that there's a little bit of not knowing, not understanding, not perceiving, not being um, familiar with a language, familiar with I mean, everything that Jesus talked about, nobody understood what he was saying for the most part. A few disciples did. A few disciples did. Everything that he debated with the Pharisees about were things that they said they fully understood, but Jesus was like, "No, it's not that." you know. And so when he got a reaction out of the Pharisees, it was simply because he was challenging them. He was challenging them in areas where they were not proficient in, you know, and they were not experienced in because of their own choice. They chose to stand on this whatever Pharisee type knowledge that they had about the nature of reality, spiritual matters, the religion, Judaism that they were engaged in. They chose to stand on that. And I'm sure that you could spend like 8 years in a seminary or whatever they call it, learning about these things. Okay. But unless you be as a child, you cannot enter the kingdom of heaven. Okay. Unless you could find the mundane and super mundane in every aspect of your being, you will never ever fully appreciate your existence. You will never fully embrace the possibility of, you know, eternity being a part of everything that's non-eternal. Okay. And that is the truth of what Christianity and the gospel gave us. That's even though people don't see it that way, there are different aspects of Christianity, maybe more along the Gnostic tradition, but not even that. Not even that. It goes beyond that. Okay. It's about seeing the universe in a drop of water. Okay. It's about seeing life and death as being two sides of the same coin and them really being aspects of each other. And to directly see, as they say in the Zen tradition, is difficult. That's what I'm really pushing on. That's why I'm really. What's up, Universal? Good to see you. That's why I seem like sometimes I'm difficult maybe with people, and I'm always cordial about it. I'm not being difficult because I can talk about that. I can sit here and talk about things from a purely Christian standpoint and benefit people 100%. I can talk about the Ten Commandments, morality. I can talk about the golden rule, loving your brother as yourself. But when I get into certain aspects of Christianity, like the death, burial, and the resurrection, when I get into the creation story, when I get into being saved by works or not by works, when I get into what does it mean to actually be saved up, what does that mean? Then I have to move outside of, I don't want to say my Sunday school understanding because that sounds cruel. I have to get outside of a little bit of my safe space human understanding, okay? And I have to go on because look, here's the thing. Here's the thing. If people don't want to grow, they don't want to grow. Period. That's what it is. That's what it is. But I will say this: there are different paths. You don't have to understand physics. You don't have to understand chemistry. Yoga taught me that, the yogic path, because there's different ways of understanding the absolute based on your predispositions as a human being. If you're not so predisposed to just knowledge, there's a way to get outside of yourself. It's called compassion. It's called altruism. That's exactly what Avalokiteshvara is about. This representation, this being that we talk about. Because once you go completely outside of yourself in service to humanity, everything that I'm saying about reality from the standpoint of I study physics or I study chemistry or I study in a seminary, you will fully understand. To me, that's the good news. Okay. To me, that's the good news that I don't have to go to somebody in an ivory tower wearing a certain collar with certain titles behind their name to understand my relationship with God. It's built into the machine itself. If I choose to use the machine at its highest level, mental, physical, and subtle, non physical energies. If I choose to align all those things, subconscious, conscious energies, I will come to understand the fullest aspects of being that there is to understand. Okay. So really what it really comes down to is, are we pushing the envelope with our understanding, with our speech, with our actions? Are we pushing the envelope in a way that's based on compassion and love and wisdom? Not pushing the envelope because I want to be an asshole, because I want to be right all the time, because I just want to be, what's the word, contentious with people and just disagree. It's really, it's more aligned to the way the Japanese do the tea ceremony. It's like, yeah, we're just drinking tea, but we're doing so much more. The universe is drinking tea right now. The universe is drinking tea. It's not just me drinking tea. It's like when Thich Nhat Hanh said with the sheet of paper. The rain
Hey
is the
man,
cloud.
you can just drop in on your thing like that. It's so different.
Oh, you can just drop in like that.
I just dropped back in. I was completely out. I just
Oh
dropped right
wow.
back in.
Oh, I
Isn't
didn't know
that
you.
crazy?
This is a little different.
I mean, I was completely out. I just dropped right back in.
Welcome back, my brother.
Thank you, man. I hear you saying that the universe is drinking tea.
The Japanese tea ceremony. That's to me one aspect of it. Like their understanding is that the mechanism that makes drinking tea possible is incomprehensible, and that's where the love comes from. That's when the awe, the love, the appreciation. It can come from there. It can come from there with any aspect of our activity. Like I said before, we could be washing dishes, we could be washing the car, we could be sitting, we could be walking. Any activity is an incomprehensible union of infinite numbers of different interactions in this universe. Okay, people call it the mind of God. They call it, a super mundane reality, whatever you want to call it. But the practice of spirituality is to get us the taste of that on our tongue. You see, and it's difficult to get a taste. It's difficult because the mind is constantly pulling me in a different direction. You see, it wants me to think the thing is what it is. The mind wants me to say, this little thing right here that my daughter plays with is what it is. And I know for a fact that there's no way that that popped out of the universe by itself. Okay. It took a lot of things for that thing to exist. It's made of wood, it has paint, it's got representations of animals on it. It's called Zany Zoo. It talks about the animal kingdom. It's like a representation of a zoo. It's so many things: people, the wood, the cloud, the soil that made the wood, the trees that it came from. The millions of years of evolution that it took for those trees to even exist, all for that zany zoo to be here. That sort of alludes to the process of emptiness, but not completely. You see, uh, but this process needs to be applied to ourselves in each moment, because the
So I
power of the mind to pull us away from that realization is extremely potent. Okay, extremely. The cares of the mundane things of the world, eat my food, washing my body, brushing my teeth, getting my joints not to hurt today. That may take half the day, just to get the joints not to work. I mean, not to hurt. So all these different they take
I
us
have a
away. They
I
take
have
us
a
away.
couple questions for you in reference to that.
What's up, my brother?
Well, two questions. One, how do you explain the difference between certification and verification?
Certification to me seems to hint at some authority stamping it. Okay, verification seems to be a interhuman process that doesn't require any authority. It doesn't require anybody with any agreed upon social authority. It just says, we both verify that what we're looking at appears to be square or solid or whatever, or taste wet or whatever like that. That's just my off the top. That when you like my understanding of the two words certification.
Well, the reason why I say that is because in creation, teaching creation, that we look at the earth as being from Adam 6,000, which is 150 generations, or we look at every generation as 40 years. Okay, so when every time I hear the millions or billions of years, I always ask, what is the verification of that? Because scientifically, they still haven't said how they verify that. So for me, certification, when I know that a generation right now is 40 years and we can verify the 40 because when they were in the wilderness for 40 years and
Uh,
that they had to wait until Moses died off before they went into the promised land.
mm,
So for me, when I look at verification, because right now, 2021, based on biblical creation, we're 150 generations from 6,000 years. So a lot of my information comes from creation and creationists, which I
mm.
study. I don't know if you know that there's a big ark in Kentucky.
I've heard that this ark's like on Mount Ararat, I think it was called.
No, no, that's the one in Africa. That's the actual real ark that Noah
Uh,
actually landed on Mount Iraq. But I'm talking about they actually built a replica. It's called
oh,
the Ark Museum
oh no, no, I didn't
in
know that.
yeah. It's called the Ark Museum. It's the Bible Ark Museum in Kentucky.
Mm,
And now, do you know there's a new museum in Washington D.C., which is the Bible Museum?
mm. No, I didn't
So,
know that.
yeah. So for me, I always look at verification versus certification. Like you said, if someone gave me a certificate because I went through a certification, like I'm going to be a new plumber or a welder, and they certify me because I did the necessary things to become a plumber. They certified me. But to verification means I got to make sure that when you come to my house that you did my plumbing correctly.
Well, so right now you're wearing a shirt, right? And you're wearing a bow tie.
Yes,
So that
Yeah,
was most likely created on a machine that's automated. They don't do it on a loom anymore. They used to do it on a
correct.
loom. Okay, that machine has been calibrated within a certain degree of precision to create the fibers in a certain way to make the fabric that makes your shirt. Okay, the process of verifying the age of the universe, 13.7 billion years, I think it's roughly. The speed of light, which came about after the Michelson-Morley experiment, that they had a process via which they were able to, based on probably flashes and using some type of, obviously using some type of clock. Okay, one problem you're gonna have is this: we've already proven, without a shadow of a doubt, that time is morpheable and malleable, and it's not an absolute because of Einstein's theories. And we've done the experiment. We put cesium clocks on DC-7s or whatever, the eights or whatever, the airplanes. We've flown around the Earth. We've shown that things that are moving have different times relative to each other. Time dilates, time contracts. So there's no absolute time. So that's the first thing I would say is that what we think of as time as being an absolute construct, that goes back to Isaac Newton. Okay, Isaac Newton thought of the universe as being everything built on this grid sort of structure of absolute time, and that way of thinking about it is not the current way we think about the universe anymore. And so
Yeah,
now the actual carbon dating and all that, I'm no expert on carbon dating, but my understanding is this: is that through a process of decay, based on the weak nuclear force, things will break down at a certain average time, and it looks like a bell-shaped curve. Okay, based on the same mathematics that make your phone work, that the machines that are calibrated to make your shirt, these same type of statistical realizations are necessary because uh, uh, integrated circuitry and computer chips are all based on these concepts that come from quantum mechanics, band gaps, and all those different things. It sounds very complex, but what it says is that, yeah, we're dealing with a certain degree of precision that can get very, very precise, but absolute precision does not exist. Okay, it's always a bell. The best thing we can do with quantum mechanics is give you a bell-shaped curve. They say the electron is about there. That's the best we can do.
okay.
So if that's the case, then we already are opening up the door for our very existence being not this absolute physical thing that we think it is. Time not being absolute, being malleable. If I'm moving at the speed of light, okay, the time factor that I measure, this is called the twin paradox in physics. The twin that goes into outer space comes back to Earth. He's 50 years old. You're 110. What happened? He was moving at a faster rate of speed than you were. So if we're talking about the time that God, who obviously would probably be at some point even beyond absolutes like the speed of light, that that concept of time that not only doesn't exist for us now that we have the knowledge you talked about, it never existed for the being called God because
Yeah,
God always knew that
exactly.
this absolute
Yeah,
that we call time was, yeah.
and then I can receive that. That's good because he doesn't control or is not based on a chronological
No,
time.
definitely can't be based on. If I as a human being, no time is malleable now. I'm not. I'm not. This version of me ain't God. Let's put it like that. Okay. This
Well, one of the
physical.
things, yeah, one of the things I like to say because people always ask me why is it the best day of your life? Well, the scripture says, "Let it be done on earth as it is in heaven." So
Yeah.
I parallel that universe, that space where
Mhm,
God is.
mhm.
Well, there's no bad days in heaven. So I say today's the best day of my life because I want to experience that same thing on earth.
I mean, namaste, Big Worm. Namaste. You. What's up, Coin Dexter? I mean, honestly, like the mental conceptions I have of God's universe right now they're so fascinating to me and so beautiful and so broad. If you want to create that universe in your mind, that heaven that you conceive, you and your brothers and sisters that have that same conception, from what I can tell, now I could be dead wrong, but from what I can tell from my own studies, that conception of heaven exists out there, here, right now,
Yes,
because
yes,
mentally
it
you've
does.
already brought it up,
Yep,
right?
I agree.
Yeah.
And I think that that's where the parallel comes to where the unseen world is more real than the world that we are currently in, because this world exists because of the unseen world.
Yeah, I would say they're sort of like interdependent. I wouldn't say one's more real or less real. I would seem because honestly, when you're dead, this conversation it don't matter no more. Okay, like
Well, well. I work in the dead. See, that's funny. Doc dealing with life and ends up the cemetery.
yeah, I mean, if we're dead and we're floating in the spirit world in the astral plane, we could be like, man, this is real. Well, hold on, I
But
thought we
see,
said
but
this is supposed to be real over here.
yeah, but see, remember though, because I also believe that we have a celestial body.
Hmm.
That when we leave our natural place, we're gonna still look like you're gonna look
Yeah,
like you. I'm gonna look like me, but I'm gonna be in my celestial body, which does not decay, does not fail,
right.
anything.
No, I agree.
Because Jesus,
I believe that too. I believe there's a what we call subtle energies, but they're called subtle, which makes them seem like they're less. But you got to understand in physics that when something is subtle, you take a small bit of uranium, you get a big boom, right? So
yeah,
energies that appear to be subtle when you manipulate them have enormous amount of regular energy, whatever we call physical thermal energy, light waves, gamma rays, whatever. So I think the subtle body can definitely, based on my understanding, be just as real as this one. Because when you get into 0 point energy and an infinite space, who knows what the concept of energy at that level really means? It could mean that there's an enormous amount of energy available to create these realms. These the mental energies may have far more energy than we realize, because physics is moving toward the point where they believe that the consciousness itself is integral in creating reality. It's moving toward that area. It may be there right now. It may be there. If that's the case,
yeah.
then the
All
concept
right,
of energy and mind have already been united now.
all right. I'll be back. My family just got here, and I gotta go and
All right, man.
direct direct
I like
this
that bow
service.
tie, man. I really like that look for you, bro. I
Thank
do.
you, man. Hey, man. Sometimes, especially when I do services, I think I don't want to be like most other funeral specialists. I want to be distinguished. And
Yeah.
then families always remember me because they always say, "You're the guy that served with the bow tie." You say, "Yeah, that's it. That's who
Nah,
I
you
am."
look sharp, man. I'm telling you, bro. If you was a noob, bro, I'd be like, man, I throw you to yo, but you don't mess with that stuff.
Nah. Hey, but Drunken Monk, always great talking to you, man. I
Oh
learned
yeah,
so
my brother.
much. I learned so much, man.
I
And
love you, bro. I love you. I appreciate
I
it.
love you too, man. I appreciate the wisdom. I appreciate the back and forth and the conversation. It's just great dialogue, and we have a lot to contribute. And I just appreciate it, man.
We can share like gentlemen. We try to teach these young boys how to do it,
Yeah.
man.
Well, you know why? Because you and I have nothing to prove. We just living.
No, no, man. I'm already dead. I died a long time ago. I'm just.
Yeah, you and me both. He said if anyone wants to find life, he must lose his life. I already
That's
lost my
right.
life. So
I gave up.
like I tell my children and my wife, I'm only here to serve.
That's
Because he
it.
said
That's it,
the
man.
greatest of the kingdom will serve. And I
Yeah,
do
the
that.
last of your
I do
servants.
that with everybody working our company. I tell everybody in our company, we're all here, but teamwork, all of us serve. We serve each other, we serve our families. Because if none of us serve each other, we have no company.
Hey, that's what you summed up my whole conversation right now when I talked about interdependence, man. That's the whole thing. You know.
Well, everybody that work with us, they all know without shadow of a doubt that there's team. We all work, we serve each other, we want to be on time for each other, we want to help each other. But we all know that we serve families every single day. It's
Oh yeah.
the greatest privilege I have in life. For 32 years, I've been entrusted with people's families after they passed from this life and made a transition. And I personally don't take that lightly.
I hope one day you read the Tibetan Book of the Dead because of what you do. It's so important to me that you would read that book. But if you don't, that's cool,
No, no,
But
no. I look. Hey, listen, man. I don't have it. Paul was a poet. He philosophized. He knew all kinds of different information. Yeah, he was a Sadducee. He was the Pharisee of the Pharisees. He was part of the Sanhedrin. I mean, listen. I've read many different types of things. My wife and I travel. I've been to 50 countries. I mean, you can't go to these different countries, go to these
oh
different
yeah, yeah, you got to
museums,
be open
and
minded.
not see. I mean, come on.
Yeah,
You got to look at things and see that everything is completely different than
yeah,
what you and I see and all
right.
kind of information. And every form of knowledge still can add. It doesn't take away from anything. It
That's
adds.
right, man. I like to
So
say like
I don't.
the way God did it specifically. I'm still figuring it out. The specifics
Yeah,
of how He did this.
yeah. All right, man. Let me get out here. There are
All
people
right, man.
coming.
Till
I'll
next
talk to
time,
you.
bro.
Bye, everybody else.
Peace out, man.
Peace.
Yeah, me and Ed always have vigorous, not semi scholarly debates because I don't know if it's we're not like usually throwing up references all the time and bibliographies, but the things that I share are based on studies that I've taken from academia. Look what I studied Einstein. It comes from his books. Um, his uh, his books on simultaneity, the theory of special relativity, which he wrote is a regular book for lay people, not scientists. I read that, went through it many times, I went through the equations, trying to figure out how he developed E equals MC squared. Went through the mathematical formulation of it as best I could. It gets pretty mathematical, but I have gone through it, so I can see that when you talk about developing relativity, as far as one thing relative to another thing, how light, well, not light specifically, but how time and velocity change in relation to each other. That's where the E equals MC squared really comes from, is the mathematical derivation of that special relativity formula. That being said, though, um, I mean, when you see through your mind's eye, your knowledge, that reality is not at all completely on any level, what you think it is. That is what I call left brain knowledge at first. It just sits there. Oh, that's cool. Einstein's equations have been proven. We use Einstein's equations when we use our GPS all the time. Uh, Gravity does seem to curve. It does curve radio signals, light beams. Uh, the fabric of space time itself seems to be this non-linear thing. Okay, all of that at some point. If you so, this is why I say the road to wisdom is knowledge, and the road to absolute realization is wisdom and knowledge both. At some point, you have to sit and ask yourself, okay, what does this really mean to me? What does this really mean to me? And there's so many ways that you can realize that your five senses and your sense of reality aren't giving you absolute accurate information. If you're in a battlefield and you want to win against your enemy, one of the most important things that you need on the battlefield, you will lose a war because of this if you don't have it. It's called logistics and military intelligence. You have to know where the enemy is, what they're doing, how big the forces are, what they what their capabilities are. In case you haven't figured it out, I'm kind of a fanatic when it comes to war games. Okay, I play real time war games. I play Call of Duty. That's like a newer genre, but I like the real time strategy chess type games. I didn't get into West Point, but I'm a military veteran, and I've been a martial artist my whole life. I study war. Okay, I study war. A lot of you guys know I'm a gun enthusiast. I have lots of weapons. Not I'm an enthusiast. I study war for a reason because I crave peace. Paradox, right? It is, but that's the way it works. By deeply delving into the aspects of war and how one subjugates an enemy, I'm able to learn about peace at its deepest level. That's just the way it is. Okay. And I can tell you this, if my enemy is my ego, okay, everything I learned about war, period, can apply to that battle. The information that you get on the battlefield will make or break you when it comes to movement, when it comes to resources, all of that. You can't win a war without logistics. Okay. Now, Sun Tzu in the Art of War said all warfare is based on deception. Okay. So for your ego to win, it has to utilize the same principles against you in the absolute sense that you have to use against it to not be subjugated by it. Think about that. So any knowledge I give you about reality, time not being completely real, space time being malleable, our five senses basically filtering all the information that comes from this partial view of reality, giving me information and based on my need for survival, taking that information and running with it like a rabbit, even though it's only partial information. Like, that's what we do. We run with that information. I got it. I got it. No, you don't. Bring your ass back here. Come learn some more, right? And so that's for me how knowledge works. It has to, at some point, I have to say, okay, I'm convinced now. I step out on faith. I know that I'm getting a partial view of reality through my five senses. I see my physical body disintegrating slowly back to the dust. I see my thoughts when I try to put my finger on them exactly. They're empty of any intrinsic. It's just like they pop in and out like quartz. I don't know where they come from. Okay. So to step out on faith for me is not as difficult because I pay attention and I use the knowledge for absolute knowledge of self. I don't use it for, I'm beyond this. I'm just going to gather knowledge just to gather knowledge, or I'm going to get it and think of it as a separate thing from the universe that I live in and use it to manipulate the stock markets and the people around me. Like, no, that's just not what it's about because that's all fictional. There is no manipulating this without affecting that. There is no up without a down. Like Thich Nhat Hanh said, the people on the bottom of the earth think they're pointing up, and you think you're pointing up, and you're both pointing in opposite directions. How does that work, right? I mean, if the thing was easy to comprehend, we wouldn't have these different disciplines trying to explain what the finger and the moon really are. You see, and it's if people want to be literalists with the Bible, that's fine, man. Because you know what, the creation is blinking in and out of existence every moment. Every moment, this now moment that we talked about has existed. We don't understand why or how. Okay. So if you want to say this tradition started as 6,700, okay, fine. Yeah. I could say it started right now. And we both would be right. That's why you see the Zen master say, let's just go drink some tea, man. They have this vigorous conversation. They laugh. Let's go drink tea. And then the tea drinking itself becomes a spiritual process because they understand that it all is the relative trying to explain the absolute, and it's never gonna happen. But we just participate in the process because that's an expression of love. You see, to participate in the process at the highest level that you can, perfect it to the highest level that you can. That is an expression of compassion and wisdom, i.e., love. That's it. It's not that the expression itself is gonna ever be right. It's never gonna be completely right. It can't be. And it can never be completely wrong. It can never be the thing itself exactly, right? And it's not the not exactly thing either. It's that much of a profound, beautiful paradox of what we really are, you see. But when we get into the mundane, when I want to perfect myself in martial arts or medicine or study theology, go to a Zen monastery or a, a Christian monastery and study these things, the right understanding and the right view in Buddhism are the first two parts of the path. If your right understanding and your right view, um, right understanding and right view are based on that everything is in flux, that it's not an absolute unto itself, that there's nothing to be created nor destroyed, that the core of who you are is connected to that process, that the information that you have is partial information about reality, that you have a lot more that's available to you. Even what you view as self is being much more expanded. That's to me right view. And a person that approaches knowledge and spiritual knowledge, human relationships, no matter how twisted we get, no matter how far we get off the path, no matter how much we sin, as we say, when you're grounded in that sort of dharma knowledge, the knowledge of what is on the most basic level that we can understand it at, you can never be completely pulled off base anymore. You see, that's why I hope people when they get knowledge that they look at it from a non self viewpoint, because that's the road. You take whatever knowledge, whatever you do for a living. You work in the car wash, you mow grass. Whatever you're doing is a whether you know it or not is a spiritual uh, holy act, because what energizes and motivates that is that source. So you don't have to go to other people's religions, other people's languages. You don't have to understand physics. You understand how to mow the grass, okay, at the highest level. Well, what does that really entail? What is grass? What is a lawnmower? What is gasoline? What is pushing? What's doing the pushing? Real quick, you get real quick, you figure out this ain't just mowing grass. Yeah, it is, but it isn't. That's why we say you don't have to go these other things. So I'm glad he brought up the fact that yeah, people don't study metaphysics. People don't study medicine. You don't have to. What you need to do, that's why religion is packaged the way it is. The first thing it tells you is do things not for yourself, for the sake of others. Learn selflessness first. Learn to not fear death first. Why do you think that's taught in religion? Because they know they don't have time to teach everybody all this other stuff. The core aspect of the teaching is that there is no real ego there anyway. So if we can get you through charitable acts, being a person that's disposed to knowledge, learn it that way, or someone who just wants to revere the creation God and let everything be sacrificed, all actions sacrificed to that conception. Those are all ways of understanding the absolute and becoming less grounded in ego. It's just that we have to have a process in our life that reminds us moment to moment. You know, when we lose that process that reminds us moment to moment, then we get bound up into the mundane. We get bound up into the fight or flight, right? Big fight or flight kicks in. Oh, I got to go kill me some buffalo and cut your throat and take your wife and take her to my tribe so I can persist and I can thrive. That's the mentality that kicks in when we forget what we really are. That's why the spiritual aspects of life have to be in front of us at all times. Ultimately, mentally. But when they're not mentally, well, this is why we put pictures of avatars in front of us, crosses on walls. This is why the Jewish religion has all these different holy days, and every act of eating is a spiritual act. That's the kosher diet, right? You think the kosher diet is just about physical health? Then you underestimate the Jewish religion and what it represents. It's every time you eat, it becomes a spiritual act of renunciation, of you understanding that this is not what it seems to be. It's not just about me. It's not just about you. It's not just about me being an absolute thing and you being an absolute thing. It's just not about my ego and wanting to chase sensory pleasure, get rid of my hunger. But now I have a sexual want. I should chase that too. Next, I'm thirsty. Let me go chase water. Oh, I'm thirsty. I ain't got water. Bang, shoot you. Take your water. See, this is the importance of knowledge on a very deep level of what it really represents, knowledge of self. And when all knowledge becomes knowledge of self, you ain't got no problem no more. Eventually, eventually it may take you in Buddhism many lifetimes, but eventually you'll get there. You may suffer along the way, but you'll suffer less and less as you start really becoming the union, as we say, between wisdom and action. Om mani padme om. The union of wisdom and action. They have to become one. When they become one, you will see that it becomes very, very what's the word? Ephemeral, ethereal. Try to put your finger on the thing, it becomes very difficult. But there's no problem. There's no problem because we understand that the spiritual man has to live in both worlds. To be here and benefit others, you got to live in both worlds. And the Bodhisattva, the great being of compassion that we talk about, resides in both mundane and super mundane existence simultaneously to benefit and work for others. So we're all saints, we're all sinners, and we're all bound by the mundane and the super mundane. But thank you guys. It's my first day on Happs. Thank Ed for coming on, having this vigorous discussion, so we can all learn. And because if I'm not challenged, I don't learn. If I'm not questioned, I don't think. So I don't. I never cried about putting an extra 5 pounds on the bench or on the barbell. I've been a bodybuilder my whole life. Never cried about putting extra 5 pounds on it. So I ain't gonna start now. Throw an extra 2.5 on the rack. Let's see what it do. Right. All right, man. Till next time. Thank you guys.